Like sexually, like in the like when they're having sex.
Yeah, I don't know where this idea comes from that like, and you should know this because of the industry you're in, but all the parts basically work the same way with everybody. They don't really work very, very differently between different people. Every man's penis is essentially designed for every woman's vagina and vice versa. The idea of sexual compatibility is not really a thing.
I think it is.
Most people.
What's up, tribe? Today we are covering how woman's value will decrease the more and more she gives it away. So let's get into it, shall we? By the way, this is a debate. Hope you understand. Let's get into it.
Without ever having sex. And they stayed married their whole lives, and most of them had good sex lives because we're designed to have sex with each other. We're designed that way.
You can sense the tension too without doing it, like the chemistry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really super attracted to you until I got you naked and had sex with you, said no guy ever in history.
No
Yeah, no, literally, that could be possible. I could be super attracted to a guy. I think he's super, cute, but he's just, not, I just don't vibe with him, sexually.
Yeah, what are you comparing it to, though, if he's your only partner?
Right, so that's why they would stay married longer because they have nothing to
Good.
be jealous of.
That's a
This
good
is
thing.
bad. Why?
That's
It's
a
not
good
bad.
thing.
Well, I mean, it's like if there's better out there, like
No,
sexually.
there's- but that's
Oh,
not
so
full
Like,
they
she
should all
doesn't- I
they should
think-
all be a bunch of skanks because they could find Mr. Right
no,
penis?
No,
No.
not at all. What I was arguing is that I feel like or at least from my perspective, the reason why a man would want a virgin is because the virgin doesn't have anything to compare it to, so there's no competition.
Oh, so
like
Not just
insecure.
that.
it's
Well, I know why a man would want a virgin, which is why would a man want to place a ring on a woman's finger just to get something she's already given away to multiple other men without the need of a ring? Also, something I want to ask here is that this is basically sex and knowledge. So, how exactly do any of these women qualify for a high school diploma when they clearly did not pass basic sex ed? How?
they only had one boyfriend.
So
you
what
know?
he should do, so then let's use the reverse of this, okay? So would you advise a man then to go to his virgin soon-to-be wife and say, honey, you should go out and fuck at least 10 guys before we get married so you know that I'm the right one?
No, but
Then what would you advise
were
him to
bringing
do?
Up marriage lasting longer, and I feel like it's just not relevant to the factors of a marriage lasting longer just because she's only had one sexual partner.
Why would that not be
Because
relevant?
I don't think it's relevant because there's I feel like I've heard from women that were married or were in a committed relationship with one guy that they weren't sexually satisfied, but they stayed with them anyway. You know what I mean? So it's
darn.
I feel like
They were with the person that they loved and they weren't sexually satisfied, so they got rid of their hedonism.
Well, just 'cause you get married doesn't mean you love 'em.
So they set aside their hedonism in order to obtain higher value. Those sons of bitches. You realize that hedonism and self-pleasure is not the purpose of life. And if you get married to somebody, make a commitment to them, why would it be a problem for you to keep a commitment because you feel like you're unsatisfied in a single area of life?
right, and that's the complicated part. That's why, for me, at least me personally,
Well, let me decomplicate it for you, madam. You literally are letting one part of the guy that you dislike cause you to overlook all the good stuff. Yeah, which is what we see women here in the West do so often. We really do. For example, so what if you say hey, you're not satisfied with this guy in the bedroom? Okay, but let's get into accountability way. Has this guy always been there for you when you always needed him? You really want to give that up just because of that? Also, you can become satisfied in the bedroom. You just gotta figure out how your own body works. You really do.
marry someone that I didn't know I had sexual chemistry with. You know what I mean? that's why I do think you can have sex before marriage
but-
because I feel like sexual chemistry is very important in the relationship.
I don't
Now,
feel like
as far as
sexual chemistry
marriage,
is hard between people.
I don't.
You
I
pretty
don't
girl,
agree.
you handsome guy, they have
can
it mostly
I
works
don't
out.
agree because
You
I
don't
mean,
agree?
right?
Could imagine it.
You can feel the tension.
Because
for
I've
sure.
liked sex better with this person, but maybe not with this guy, you know? But it's like,
Yeah, but this is because you're making a comparison between many guys. Assume for a second that you had what you consider right this second to be mediocre sex, but you were a virgin, right? And to you, it was the best feeling thing on planet Earth. Absent the compare.
Warlord 69 you woo donated $69. Ladies, understand, once you are on the internet it's lights camera action. You are never truly valuable once you've given up the controls to your brain. The joke in your reality.
What does that mean?
Thank you, Warlord.
He's just saying that once you put nudes of yourself out, it's forever.
Okay.
Right.
Or you have sex with guys on camera, it's forever, which is
Of
true.
course.
But anyway, so back to this. Assuming for a second you were a virgin, you married a man, you had what you would right now consider to be mediocre sex with that man, but it was still the best feeling thing you'd ever had because
there was nothing.
there was
to compare
nothing
it
else
to.
to compare
Right.
it to. How the world could you make a reference that it could be better over here?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I was saying is that I feel like from what I've heard from a lot of women that are divorced, they didn't have the level of sexual chemistry that they wanted.
And had all of those women been fucked by other dudes before their husband?
I don't know.
What would you think?
I mean, I'd like the perspective of a virgin person right now that only had one partner because I don't have that perspective, so I don't know.
Well, what virgins report is that they're highly satisfied in their sexual relationships. That's
for
what they
them.
report when they're asked.
Good for them.
Okay, let's say it's a virgin and a guy, whatever, they get married and everything, and they're just together for 10 years. What happens if in those 10 years they're just like, oh, I just don't want to be with you anymore?
What
Right.
happens? What happens if you're not a virgin and that happens?
That's why, either or. Because you're saying that people who are virgins last longer in their marriages.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if that's not the case?
What happens with anybody if it's not the case?
No, but I'm directing it specifically to your comment on saying that they last longer if they're a virgin.
I'm explaining to you why it's a nonsensical circular question. So what if I retain my virginity and then have the same outcome as if I didn't retain my virginity?
That's what I'm saying. That's not different.
Yeah, no, it's different. So again, let us assume that we have 9 virgins, 1 non-virgin. Okay? The outcome for the non-virgin, X bad. Okay? Now let's say it's worse than these. The non-virgin, the outcome is worse than the 9. Okay? Now we take 2 of those virgins, who also get married, and they have the same outcome as that non-virgin. Which group is still more likely to have better outcomes?
The virgins.
The virgins. So even if it were true that some virgins have bad outcomes similar to those who are not virgins at marriage, most virgins still have better outcomes than them, right?
Okay, that's if men, like the man that's marrying that woman, cares about their virginity, their specific
Right.
virginity.
Because
Let's say,
not every man views it as being the gold bar. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So you remember how you said every there?
yeah.
Right.
And I agree with you. Not every man does.
Right.
But let me counter with this. Do you think that most men, if they could take you, these are your romantic partners, but they could take away every man you've ever fucked before them, would they?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Well, essentially, ladies, it may not be every man, but it's the majority of men who prefer virgins. And let's be honest here, ladies, the minority is not the rule, the majority is the rule. If a majority of men prefer virgins, guess what? That is the rule. That's what you ladies have to work with in order to get a husband. Yeah. Also, to put in more simpler terms, for any of you ladies who might be watching this, what product on the market have you ever seen in your entire life increase in value with age and use? What? Because I got news for you. Sex is no different. It's not going to increase The sex that you ladies offer will not increase in value with age and use. It's not. There's never been a product on the market in the history of mankind that has increased in value with age and use. There has never been.
Anything else you guys wanted to add to that?
Gotcha, bitch.
Nick, why you gotta, come on, bro. Why you gotta do?
What about you? Do you think any romantic partner that you have who's a man,
That's a good question.
if they could unfuck you, would they do it?
Like you're saying, oh, like so it. Well, but doesn't that
Would
make them
they do
insecure?
it?
But doesn't that make them
Would
insecure?
they do it?
I guess, but like,
Well, then
Would
the
that-
question
wait, hold
doesn't the
on
question now seem
Okay,
like
but then
nonsense?
that's an insecure
that's
man.
insecure.
Why is it
that
insecure?
Because you don't want her to have any comparison except you.
What if that's not the reason?
That doesn't make sense.
Then what's
Why-
the reason?
Well, what
wait,
would the
What
reason
was our
be?
Wait,
reason?
Chances
wait.
of
I don't know. Have you
STIs?
ever had a traumatic sexual relationship? Like you dated a guy.
Hang on,
and it
hang
was
on.
traumatic.
I'm going to use your logic back. Okay. A man doesn't want a woman because she has 10 kids. Mm-hmm. He's insecure. Right?
But that brings kids
Hang
into
on.
it.
He's insecure or not insecure?
No, because there's 10 children that he would have to be a
wait,
father
wait
to.
a second. Wait
That's
a second.
not the same as having sex.
Hang on. He's not insecure if she has 10 kids, right? I just want to make sure we
No.
got that answer.
No,
Not insecure? Or he's insecure if he won't date her because she has 10 kids?
I definitely think that he has a spot to be insecure simply because he still would have to deal with the past baby
Why
daddies.
would that be insecurity, though?
But your question is,
I have a question. What exactly is insecurity? Like, can anyone define that? Like, how do you define insecurity? Also, the other question I want to ask is insecurity, all these other things women like to shame men with. What's the point of it? Like, what's the point? Like, calling men insecure, accusing men of being a source of all things evil, blah, 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 blah. What exactly is the end goal for all this male bashing? What's the end goal for it? No, I mean it. Like, what's the actual end goal? What exactly, for women who constantly call men insecure for having standards or constantly calling them the source of all things evil, like collectively labeling men in the same category, what exactly is the achievable end goal for this? Like what? What do you ladies think men are going to give you by doing this to them? Like, what do you think they're going to give you exactly? Like, what do you expect them to give you? I'm just wondering that myself.
he has 10 kids.
No. My question is, if a man didn't want a lady with 10 kids, does that make him insecure?
No, it just makes him, he just has self-respect and he doesn't feel comfortable being with a woman who has multiple kids with different guys.
So he has a preference.
Self-respect
right.
And part of self-respect.
is preference. Yeah, that's his preference is to not be with a woman
So
that has
if your
10 kids.
preference is to be with a virgin and not with a woman who has a high body count,
That's not insecurity.
That's perfectly
it's
fine.
not insecurity, right?
It's not.
The women that
Simple.
are sleeping around are
I'm
risking
confused.
having kids. It's kind of almost the same thing. The only difference is the actual part of having the kids. Like the woman with 10 kids with different men, it's kind of the same thing with the woman that sleeps around because she's still risking pregnancy with all of those men the same way a woman was willing to get pregnant by all those men and have those kids. I think it comes down to that. It's just unattractive that a woman would disrespect herself because respect is attractive. To be willing to risk pregnancy, STIs, and all, and just be willing to be that intimate with someone when they just met them or without certain requirements. It's basic psychology when someone.
Well, not only that, but think about it. Let's insert yourself in a man's shoes for a second. Mm-hmm. And on your wedding night, you say, this really valuable thing, I saved it for you. How good of a feeling would that be for a man?
I know, but we're already married.
But what about a girl
Like-
though?
Okay, we're
But,
not.
like, wouldn't the
we're not
marriage
adding.
stand that?
Hang on. Engage with what I'm asking first, and then change the conditionals. That's fair, right? From a man's perspective, let's say you're a man tomorrow. You wake up and you're a man, okay?
Right.
And a woman on your wedding night says, I saved my virginity for you because that's how much I love you, right? I'm sorry, would you not be extremely pleased and happy with that outcome?
I mean, she's marrying me. She chose to say yes to the marriage. That would already be enough for me as a man.
Yeah, but, okay. But she kept her virginity and told you those words. I kept myself chaste to give this to you.
Right, because she felt like I was the right person to give
Right.
it to.
But
How
of
would you
course,
not, how would that not make you feel like $1 million as a man?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
That's-
view
I don't know
virginity
isn't
as
an
val-
argument.
No, but I'm saying in my mind, I don't view virginity as valuable.
I'm not asking
you know what I mean?
I'm not asking you to view it from your perspective. I'm asking you this. Assume for a second that I crammed a man's brain into your head, okay? And then your physiology changed tomorrow, and now you're in a man's body. And now suddenly your value structure and the way you think of things change. And in your head, you crave women who have a low body count. You marry a woman who's a virgin, and on her wedding night, she says these words to you: I saved my virginity for you. Nobody else ever got this but you, because that's how much I love you. How could a woman ever give you, the man, a better gift than that?
I mean, I don't know. I think the marriage.
What else could she give that could ever be more valuable than that? What
saying
else?
yes to marriage.
A kid.
A child saying yes to marriage. I feel like that means more than a virginity.
No, I feel like if I-
But hang on. Anybody who's a man can give you a kid who's fertile, which is most men, right? You can only give your virginity to one man.
I know who.
Right.
So if that is the case, you saying, well, I chose to marry you, right? And I'm fertile, so I can accept your seed. You can do that with any man.
Correct.
But you can only give your virginity to one. And if you say, I gave this to you, this one man, he's the only one who's ever going to have that. No other man ever will. How could you give him something more valuable than that? There's nothing else you could ever exchange to him that couldn't be replaced with something else. You couldn't give him a car that he couldn't replace. You couldn't give him a gold bar he couldn't replace. You couldn't give him anything that could not be replaced except that. That's the only thing you could ever give a man that he can't replace.
But how long is that high going to last? Like, oh, I took her virginity. Like I feel great.
Right,
How
so
long
you
is
took
that
your
feeling
virginity
going
of
to
your
last?
wife? Hopefully for life.
And these types of pointless arguments are the exact reason why I decided to become a passport bro and get myself away from overseas. Yeah, it's not because I have anything. It's not because I have anything against women here in the West. I don't. And to be honest with you, I'm also quite used to people questioning me, challenging my position. In fact, to be honest with you, I kind of live for it. The capital thrust of spirited debates. However, one thing that makes debates enjoyable is that, hey, when you point out a hole in somebody's logic, you would become humble. You would. That was one of the main rules about debates, where, hey, if you failed to answer a question, or if you had to resort to using shame tactics, you lost the debate, and you should just accept your defeat with dignity and become humble. But these types of debates, there's no becoming humble when someone points a hole in your logic. These types of debates, it's just arguing for the sake of arguing. There's no real end point to this. There really is not.